Okay, so this evening we're going to be looking at the second part of module number 3, which is patterns. We have looked at revolves already, and we introduced a little bit of patterns, but we're going to get into, more examples on patterns in a bit. I did want to call your attention to an extra credit chess piece assignment that I have out here, and it's totally optional, completely extra credit. It's worth 10 points. And if we look at that, you'll notice that you can make a part that'll be 3D printed at a little bit later date. And what I need you to do for the full 10 points, you need to make at least 6 contours or different steps. It needs to measure a maximum of 3 inches and a maximum of 1¼ inch diameter at its widest point. Okay. I'd like you to take a screenshot, upload it, but then make sure that you save that file so that it can be retrieved again, because we'll have to then create an STL file that will allow it to be read by the 3D printers that we have here on campus. So it's kind of like step 1, if you would, getting your design, and it's something that you can be nice and creative with. I'm going to have you make 2 of them. One is going to be for me to keep here at school, and then one is going to be for you to keep. Okay, so it will be something that you'll get to have as well. So that's out there for you to decide if you want to do or not. But we are going to be focusing tonight on assignment number 5, patterns. So if we go there, you're going to notice that there is a PDF that's going to have 5 models that are going to highlight the pattern command. Okay, and I'm going to go underneath my camera right now to see and kind of do a preview first of the assignment, and then we'll jump in and we'll use this as our guide to get to know the command. So the first one that we have here is going to be the ratchet plate, where we're going to be creating the teeth around the outside. So we'll draw one, and then we're going to rotate and copy that around with the pattern command. The next one that we have here is going to be our Geneva wheel. And this is going to be created by a circle as a solid first, but then the cutouts that you see here, the slot and then like the half circle, are going to be patterned. We turn the page. We've got the holder base. It's got 2 different levels here, and it's got 2 different hole patterns. Additionally, we have the valve knob. Here we're going to actually be creating the 2, if you would, tubes, and then the rib and the nub, I call it, on the outside are going to be then patterned so that they're going to be evenly spaced around the axis of the knob. And then the last part that we're going to be looking at is actually going to combine both a revolve for the cross section here. So all of the dimensions here are for you to use the revolve command, and then the pattern command we're going to be using to put the whole pattern in place there, evenly spaced. Okay. All right. So let's go back to where I want to start today. Is we are going to be looking at the Geneva wheel. Okay. So I'm going to zoom in on the Geneva wheel, and I want to start here because this is going to get us a couple looks at the pattern command in one part. Okay. So you're going to notice that we have these slots here. There's 6 of them evenly spaced. So we're going to use the pattern command to do that. And then these half circles as well. Now the process we're going to take is we're going to actually create an 8-inch diameter base around the outside here. And then we're going to make it a thickness of, so it's really just going to be a circle, a solid circle to start, a thickness of a 1/2 inch. And then we're going to create the hub, if you would, coming forward. After we get that in place, then we're going to focus on the cutouts and using that pattern function to get those in place. So I'm going to go over to Creo, where I've got my working directory already set up. So I'm ready to start a new file. So I'm going to call this Geneva wheel, and I'll call it 2. Done this a couple times. Okay. So we are going to start with our traditional extrude command, and we're going to define by using the front plane, and we're going to sketch on that front plane. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to start with a very simple circle. This is going to be that 8-inch circle. Oopsie. Circle. There we go. And we're going to, I feel like I have something else there. Delete. Let me do this. I'm going to get rid of this. I think I had 2 circles there in accident. Let me start again. circle command. There we go. Now there's just one. I'm going to double click on it. It's going to be 8 inches. And I should have my feature requirements met, and they are. So I can go ahead and I can do the OK button to go right into the extrude. Now, you'll notice I was on that front plane with my sketch. And what I'm going to do is for the base, I am going to actually send this in the opposite direction. So it's a 1/2 inch in back of this plane. So I am going to change the direction here. Okay. And then I'm going to define that depth as 1/2 inch, 0.5. Okay. And notice that it is on the back side of the plane. And then I can hit OK. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the hub to the front. So I'm going to do another extrude command, and I'm going to do it on the face of my base. So I can just click that once. I'm going to click on the circle command, share that same center. Okay. And this time the diameter is going to be 2.5. Okay. Again, the feature requirements should be all set because it's sharing the same center and it's at the origin. I can hit OK. I'm going to rotate this forward. It is coming forward, but its depth needs to be 0.5. There we go. Okay. So that's the hub on the front, and then it's also that base circle. So while I'm here, I might as well put the bore through the inside and the keyway. So I'm going to do another extrude, and we're going to click on, I'm going to go on the front of my boss coming forward there, or that hub. And I'm going to then also change to shading with edges so I can see that inside circle. And then now I'm going to add another circle to the center. And this is going to be a diameter of 1.5. Okay. Now this also has that keyway on it. Now, if we look, I know it's kind of underneath my camera here. This says 0.36 by 0.2. Okay. So it's going to be 0.36 wide and 0.2 tall. So we are going to go back to Creo. Okay. And we are going to create that key way in the top. Okay. So I'm simply going to add some lines, and I'm going to cross over intentionally. So I'm going to start on the inside of my circle because I want to trim that away, go straight up, go over the center line on the other side, come back down. And I'm going to not be equal on this side. Okay. I want them to be independent. Okay. So now I've got that there. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the delete segments, and I'm going to trim away those portions that I don't want. Okay. So now I've got my keyway on the top here, but I need to define it. So the width of my keyway needs to be 0.36. Now, when we do this, oh, did it go both ways? It might have. It might have. Feel like it did. I'm going to go 0.2. Yeah, it is. Okay. So it does have the behavior I want it to have right now because I want it to evenly space. But if you need to, you can use the symmetric command to make the points, the endpoints on there symmetric with the center line. Okay. So if you need to add that, you can. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to make this 0.2 tall. Oh, see, now it's shifted. See, it's not symmetrical. I knew it. 0.2 tall. And then I want, maybe I can do it over this way. I want to make these two equal. This one and that one. There we go. Now it's centered again. Okay. So you'll notice that I should be fully defined. I don't see any weak dimensions on here. So I've got the 0.36 evenly spaced and the 0.2 tall. And I've got everything open here. I'm going to check my feature requirements. It looks like I'm good. So I am going to click OK, but it wants to add right now. So I am going to change the direction first. Now it understands I want to remove material. But what I want to do is right now it's to a depth. So I am going to say up to reference, and I'm going to click on the back surface here. That way it just goes through, and whatever the thickness, if it ever changes, it'll always go completely through. Okay, so that is, there we are. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick save on this. File, save, Geneva wheel in my working directory. Perfect. Okay. So now we're ready to, we have everything in place. We've got the solid disk. Now we can start looking at our cutouts. So we'll go back to the Geneva wheel drawing, and I'm going to start by doing the slot up at the top here. So I'm going to draw one slot, and then I'm going to pattern it around the outside. Okay. So we're going to go in under the extrude again. So we're going to extrude. We're going to click on the front surface here of our base disk, if you would. And then I'm gonna zoom in to this area. Okay. So I'm going to start by drawing a construction circle. Okay. That construction circle is going to be a diameter of 4 inches, and it is going to represent the bolt circle, if you would, that the bottom part of our slot is going to be on. I know it's hard to see mine, but you're going to see it come in as kind of a dotted line, and it's going to be a diameter of 4. Oh, undo. I actually want this to be, it's a radius. Sorry, it came in as a radius. So I want it to be a radius of 2. There we go. And then I'm going to change it to a diameter to reflect what's there. Okay. So I've got this construction circle, okay, for the center of the circle that I'm going to lay down. Now I need to uncheck the construction mode. I don't want that on anymore. So make sure that you depress it so it goes off, or toggle it off. And now I'm going to create a circle at that intersection that I just created. Okay. And this circle is going to be a diameter of 0.5, because that's the width of our slot. Okay, that's the width of our slot. All right. Questions so far? Anything? Okay. Now we're going to do 2 lines on either side of this. Now, this is the deal. So you got to zoom in here, because otherwise it's going to try to grab where that construction circle was. Okay, that's going to be its first instinct. So what you want to do is you want to actually highlight the center here and go straight across, and where it's a straight line across, now we're going to click, and that's going to be the quadrant. Okay, so now I'm going to zoom back out, and I'm going to go straight up, make sure that's a vertical line, and then go coincident to the outside. Okay, now we could do that on the other side, or you could mirror that over. It's totally up to you. I'm going to do it again so you can see it. So it's going to be a regular line here. I want to kind of highlight that center, go across, stay in line. Don't do the radius on the bottom. Otherwise, it's not going to be nice and vertical for you to go up to the top. Okay. All right. Now we are going to trim away the inside of the circle that we don't need, which is this part right here. Okay, so that our slot is on the bottom here. But you'll notice that this isn't highlighting and closing like it normally would, that pink color, right, when it's a closed loop. So to get that to happen, what we need to do is we need to close it on the top here, because it's open right now. Now we already have that 8-inch diameter disc on the outside. We want to use that. Okay, we can project that into our sketch. That's what we're going to do right now. So instead of having to draw another circle and in there, we're going to just use what's already there. So we're going to click on the project button here. Okay, and it wants us to select an item to project. So I'm going to select this item right here. Now, if I had more items I wanted to select, I would hit the control key and hold it, and then keep selecting. Okay, but I only need this one because I just want that rounded edge on the top. And once I have it selected, I can hit OK. All right, and now you'll notice that it highlighted. It's now like an orange color, but I don't need it to be on either side. I just want it for the middle. So I'm simply going to do the delete segment, or that trim. I'm going to go on one side and I'm going to go on the other. And now when I middle mouse button, I've got my closed loop. Okay, and I've got the pink on the inside. Questions about that, the projection? Okay, so you'll notice that I don't have any weak dimensions. So I am ready I am ready now. Oopsie, I don't want to do that. I am ready to do my extrude. So I'm going to hit a feature requirements. I look good. I am not going to rotate. I'm not going to pattern this here. I actually don't have the ability to pattern it here. Okay. So I'm going to just make this one slot. So we're going to hit OK. We're going to extrude it, but we're going to change the direction. And we're going to go to reference the back surface. So it always goes just that thick. And we're going to hit OK. And now we've got one here. Now, this is where I'm going to catch myself up on my extrudes and naming them so that they mean something. So this first one was the, I'm going to double click it and I'm going to call it the base. Okay. The next one was the hub. The next one was, oopsie, diameter underscore and the keyway. Okay, so that's in place. And now this one, I'm going to call the slot. Okay. Now you don't have to rename these, but I do like it when I see it, when you guys are kind of paying attention and giving these names, because it does mean more to me to see, you know, these called out. Okay. Then I know, you know, what you did at each one of the steps. This is also a reminder when you do your screenshots for me, okay? When you do your screenshots for me, make sure that you're including in your screenshot in the window, you want to start in the upper left-hand corner up here so that I can see your entire model as well as your design tree here. I want to see the order that you do stuff. Okay. So, so make sure you're including that. Some of you are missing that. And, I haven't taken points off, but I've been reminding you in the notes, like make sure for future to add the, design tree. Okay. And that's this part over here. Okay. So now we have our slot. Highlight the slot. When we highlight the slot, this is what we're going to pattern. You're going to notice that there is a pattern function that becomes available on our model ribbon. So I'm going to click on that and then a new menu comes up. Okay. The first thing I need to do is I need to change the type of pattern that I'm going to do, because I want to do one about an axis. Okay. Because they're all going to revolve around that center axis. So I'm going to click axis and now I need to select an axis. So I'm going to zoom in on my, and you might have to tip it a little bit, and you want to grab the dotted line that we see right here. Okay. It'll highlight when I click it. Now that's the axis. Okay. Now it's going to automatically always put in as default 4 pieces. Okay. I want 6. Okay. I want, right? Yeah, 6. I want 6. So I want to change my 4 to 6. Okay. And then you need to put in, it's going to default to 90 degrees between. We need to put in what's 6 into 360, 60 degrees, right? 60 degrees will evenly space 6 of them. Yep. So now you'll notice that it gives you a preview with dots on where these are going to be located. Okay. And if that looks good, then we can simply hit OK. All right. Hit OK. And there they are. Look at that. Okay. Now you'll notice that it took slot away, and now it says pattern 1 of slot. Okay, so it's telling me that, oh, we did a pattern of that feature. I'm going to do a quick file save here so that, because I don't want to do what I just did. Okay. Any questions so far? All right. If you found that the pattern function is easy, it kind of is. It kind of is. And now that we're getting to know Creo a little bit more, I think it is kind of easier for us to kind of navigate a little bit too. So, so let's do it again. So the other feature that we need to pattern is going to be this half circle. Okay, so we've got our slots around. Now we're going to do the half circle. So the one that I'm going to do is the one that's right here on the left-hand side. You're going to notice that the radius for that half circle is going to be on a radius of 4.5. So we're going to create that 9-inch diameter, if you would, with a circle that's going to be a construction circle. Okay. And then that's going to be the center for which we then add the actual half of a circle. And then we'll trim away what we don't need. So I'm going to go back to Creo and we're going to do an extrude, and we're going to click on that front face again. And now what we're going to do is I'm going to start with my construction mode, draw my circle, okay, out to, I don't know, about there. Okay. And then It's a radius of, and I want a radius of 4.5. There we go. Okay. So that's going to be then the center of the radius of 1.5 that I'm going to create. I want to go off of construction mode now. Okay. Otherwise, anything that I continue to draw is going to be in construction mode, and I don't want that. You'll catch yourself doing that, and you just undo it, or you just delete it and unclick the construction mode. Now I'm going to draw a circle with the center right there along the center line and the construction circle that I created. And then this is going to have, it's a diameter of 3 because it's a radius of 1.5, but I'm going to change this to the radius of. Now, it's a good idea to do that. And I haven't been like enforcing that or making that an emphasis, but later on, when we do our engineering drawings and the dimensions come in, it'll remember if you did it as a diameter or as a radius. So do yourself a favor, because that way, if it is being called out as a radius, you want to have that dimension automatically come in. You'll have the ability to change it later on as well, but why not do it here? Okay, so that one's in here. So, so now what we need to do is we need to get rid of this inside chunk, right? But this part of the circle is not part of our sketch yet. So we're going to do that project function again. So we're going to click on project, and we're going to select this radius right here, that radius right there. And we're going to hit OK. And then now what that allows me to do is I can trim away. I've got these two parts, and I want to keep the inside portion for my extrude. Okay. So I'm going to trim away the parts that I don't need. So I don't need this or that. I don't need this or that. And I don't need that. So now when I middle mouse button, I have only what's left over inside of there. It has the radius of 1.5. It knows where its center is, and I don't have any weak dimensions. So I'm going to double check. I should have my feature requirements met, and I should be good to go. Okay, so now I want to cut away this portion in that extrude function. So I'm going to hit OK, right? And now it's coming forward. So I want to change its direction, and I want to actually change this through to reference right there. Okay, and then that way it's always going to go with the thickness. All right. I'm going to rename this and call this half circle cut. Okay. All right. Any questions so far? Because then all we need to do to finish this up, actually two things. We're going to do the pattern on this, and then we need to add a radius. Okay. So I'm going to keep this highlighted, and I'm going to go up to pattern. Okay. And oh, why did you reference? Let me cancel that. So I've got my half circle. Let me go off of it and then back on it. And I'm going to go to pattern. Oh, that's okay. I guess I didn't realize axis is underneath here. I'm going to zoom in, find my axis, click on it. And then I've got 6 and 60. And I'm going to pull out and just make sure that I'm seeing the dots as a preview. And then I can hit OK. There it is. And then you'll notice in our design tree, it changed to pattern 2. It's the second pattern that I did of the half circle cut. All right. So file, save. Now, this is where I'm just going to remind you, when you hand this in for the screenshot, you're going to scooch the model kind of up to the left-hand side of our screen. Position it so I can see everything. If I can't see everything, then make another view of it. Many of you have been good about that, where you'll turn it around to see the other features. I do want to see all the features. And if you don't do that, I do make a note of it. All right. Oh, I do need to do one more thing. I need to add the round in here, don't I? Forgot that. Sorry. I'm going to add the round, and this needs to be a radius of 0.25. And I need to be on, don't grab the surface. Make sure you get only on the edge, and then that should be okay. All right, it's in there now. So I'm going to do one more save. So scooch this up to the corner. In this case, I can see all of the features because everything is kind of on that front side. But if you do need to turn it around and take it, another option, which some people have been doing as well, is I don't mind the wireframes. They kind of give me a view, you know, through the part as well. So if you want to add a wireframe, that would be great too. But this one we can do in this format. And then when you take your screenshot, so Windows Shift S, if that's working for you, you want to go all the way up in the upper left-hand corner. And then you want to drag across so that I can see the design tree and your part. Okay. So from this day forward, if I only get the model, I'm taking points off. You're going to have to hand back in and do it again. All right. So, so be aware of that as you hand in. I do want to see that model tree. All right. I want to make sure that you're using these commands the way that they're supposed to and kind of looking at the order that you do things. I'm also going to encourage you, I'm not going to require, but encourage you to rename these things so that it kind of gives me a little bit more description of how you did it. Okay. Any questions on that? Geneva wheel is kind of fun, wasn't it? The pattern command makes things efficient. Yes, Jacob. If you want to, if it, like in this case, this one, I can see everything. Okay. But if it's something where there's like, you see through the part or something like that, or you don't want to take another, a wireframe can kind of, you know, I can see then the details as well. So if you feel like a wireframe is more descriptive, feel free to do that. And you can just change it here in your display. And that's where you can, you know, kind of change these. And if you are like, yeah, wireframe kind of shows more, that's totally fine too. I'm okay with that. Yeah. Some of the ones that we had in the Revolve had like stuff on the back side, and some people didn't change their view. And then I don't know if you actually did it, but then there were some people that actually did a wireframe. Well, then I can see through it. Okay. So, so just kind of be aware of that. Look at your view and kind of see, you know, do I see all the features that I had to create as a solid in one picture? Great. You can do a wireframe otherwise, or you can just turn it around and just do another view of it. Some people do that as well. So that's helpful. Okay. But don't forget your design tree here, because that I do need. All right. And if you know, if you want to make your teacher happy, you'll change these. Okay. Or make them more descriptive. Okay. Whatever you feel a good name is. All right. So, so that's that. Any questions at all on the Geneva wheel or right now the pattern command? Okay. All right. Okay. So the next one we're going to be looking at is going to be the valve knob. Okay. So the valve knob here, we are going to be kind of creating the two tubes here first. Okay. Then we're going to create a rib and then pattern it around. And then I call these little things on the top the nubs. Okay. We're going to do those. And then there's also the fillets around, and we're going to find out that we can also pattern the fillets as well. And I'll show you how to do that. So, so that's going to be what we're going to do. So I'm going to start off by going back to Creo. I've already got my session all set here. So I'm going to go in as a new part. I'm going to call it valve knob 2. Okay. All right. And we're going to start with the extrude command. Okay. Define. And it's going to be our flip plane and sketch. Okay. All right. So I'm going to start by drawing, if you would, the two tubes around the outside. Now, I presume that this, it does say it's in millimeters. Okay. It's in millimeters. So before we get started, but even if it's not, you can always change this. So we're going to go into file. I'm in the sketch mode. When we get out of here, we can do our whole sketch normal. Right now I'm in inches. We will switch to millimeters. It's no problem. It's a good idea to do it like this, because you'll see how easy it is to switch in Creo. This is one nice thing about Creo, from inches to millimeters or millimeters to inches. So we'll do that after. I think I've got to be on my model ribbon. not in sketch mode. So we're going to start by doing our circles. And on the outside, now most of these are radiuses. So the very outside radius that we have here, let me see, is going to be 22.5 times 2, which is 45, right? 22.5, yeah, 45 diameter. And then I'm going to change this to radius because that's what they're calling it out. And then I'm going to do another circle on the inside. This one is going to be 18.75. That's 37 diameter. So 37, but then I'm going to change it to a radius dimension. And then I'm going to do the two circles, the tube on the inside as well. Okay. Even though these aren't connected, they will be after we do our rib. So I'm going to do 11.25. So that's 22.5. Okay. And it's radius dimension. There we go. Oh, yeah, I'm good. And then my last one is going to be a circle on the inside here. Oops. And that is going to be 12. Okay. So all of them share the very same center. If I go up to my feature requirements, I should be good. And I am. Even though these aren't connected, it's okay. We're going to extrude them as two tubes, if you would, that are concentric to one another. And I'm going to say, okay. And, oh, I'm in wireframe. That's why. Let me go back to shade with edges. That looks better. And my thickness is a height of 6 millimeters. That's the note that's on the top of this drawing. So this is going to be 6. Okay. And I'm just going to put it on the front here. It's totally good. And then I'm going to hit okay. All right. No reason to really do a symmetric or anything like that in this case. All right. So that's a good start. I'm going to do a quick file save. And now I'm going to do my rib. Okay. So I'm going to do another extrude. I'm going to just pick this face right here on the part. And we are simply going to, now we're going to be putting this rib in the middle, and it's 3.5 inches or 3.5 millimeters wide. I forgot. We'll do the changeover in just a little bit. 3.5 millimeters wide. And it's going to connect from the outside of the inner tube to the inside of the outer tube. So we will project those two diameters into our sketch. So we're going to do the project, and we're going to grab this inside and then the outside of this one. So you need to do your control and hold, and then the outside of that one. Now it's only grabbing half the circle because it goes to the, to the plane here, which is fine because I only need the top part here. So this is going to be okay. So now these are in my sketch at the sketch level. Okay. And then I'm going to simply grab a line this side. Okay. And then I'm going to add another line to the other side. Okay. Now I'm going to trim away what I don't need. I'm going to delete segment. I'm going to delete this part, and then this part and this part. Okay. And now when I middle mouse button, I have my enclosed shape here. Okay. Questions at all so far? All right. I have to have a closed loop in order to do that extrude. Okay. And that's why I'm projecting or grabbing those radiuses from the previous models that we created. Okay. All right. Now I need this to be a width of 3.5. So I'm going to add my dimension from one side to the other, and I'll just put it up right here. So this needs to be 3.5. Okay. And you'll notice that it didn't evenly distribute it. Okay. I'm gonna undo that for a second, and I'm gonna make it 4 because I want to be on one side of that center line. I didn't plan this very well. So now I need to add the symmetric constraint, and I want to be at this point and this point, and then I'm going to click on the center line, and now it evenly distributes it. Okay. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to double click my width, and I'm going to do 3.5 here because it was on the other side of the equals or the center line last time. Okay. So now you're going to notice that as I kind of go out here, there are no weak dimensions. It's symmetric on either side, and it's a closed loop. So I should be good to go. So so I'm going to just check my feature requirements. I'm good. And I'm going to say, okay. And it wants to extrude forward, but I want to change the direction. I want it to go backwards, but I don't want it to an actual number. I want to go to the backside here. Okay. And then that way it'll always be that thickness. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change my names over here on my model tree by double clicking. And I'm just going to I'm going to call this tubes. And then I'm going to call this, double click it. I'm going to call this my rib. Okay. Now with my rib selected, I'm going to go up to the pattern on my model menu here. Okay. Pattern. We're going to change this to axis. And then I'm going to select that axis. If you got to zoom in, go ahead, select that axis. And I need 1, 2, 3, I need 6 of them again. So I need 6, and they're going to be on 60-degree angles. So I'm going to hit OK or hit enter. Don't hit OK yet. Do a quick preview to make sure that they're going to be in the right spot. And it looks like they are. So I'm going to hit OK. And there they are. So good. Do a save. You don't want to lose that. Notice that our model tree also changed it to pattern 1 of the rib. Okay. So again, we're practicing the pattern command. When I look at your screenshots and I see your model tree, I'm going to be looking for, did you use the pattern function? Okay. All right. Any questions? All right. Now we're going to make a nub on the top. That's what I call it. All right. So, so we are going to do another extrude. We'll grab this front surface and we're going to zoom in up on the top here. Okay. Oh, I got to zoom a little bit out. Let's look underneath to see the dimension here. So you'll notice that, where is that dimension? Oh, here it is. Radius of 24 is going to be the radius that is going to have, you know, the radius on each one of those nubs, if you would. So I'm going to create a circle that is going to have a diameter of 48, and that's going to be the top of the little nub. Okay. And then I'm going to do my lines going straight down. We're going to project the top of that circle in, and then we'll use that portion to close our loop. Okay. So I'm going to start by creating a regular circle, not a construction circle, on the outside here. This is going to be 48 diameter. I'm going to change it to a radius. And then I'm going to draw my 2 lines. Okay. Oh, I'm actually going to project first. I'm going to project this radius right here. Okay. Bring that in. Now I'm going to do my lines. I don't know that it matters. I think it does, because I think it needs to know, it has to have that projected radius to get to. So I'm going to put one on this side. Okay. And then I'm going to put the other one on the other side. Oops. Oh, I am not vertical. Hold on. I'm going to get rid of that one. Let's try that again. I'm going to put it on. There we go. Vertical. Okay. So now I am going to get rid of the parts I don't need. So I don't need this part or that part. I don't need that part or that part. But if I look underneath, there is still going to be this and this. So we want to get rid of those parts too, so that we don't have those lingering out there. Otherwise they're just going to be like hanging out. And at some point they will cause a problem. All right, so now I have to deal with this. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add the symmetric from this point to that point to the center line to even it out. And then we are going to add a dimension across the width of our nub. And that's going to be the same 3.5 wide. Okay. And now you'll notice I don't have any more weak dimensions. If I shift down, here's that radius of 24, which is the size that I have that at, okay? And now I should be feature requirements. I should be 2 green check marks, and I can do my extrude. I'm going to change my direction, and I am going to say to the reference on the back side. Okay. And again, I do that because this way it always is going to be tied to the thickness of that part. Okay. So if it ever changes, now everything changes. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So I've got a nub. I'm going to change this to nub. All right. Now I want to take that and rotate that around. Now this, I need 12 of them, all right? Because we have an extra one in between each one of the ribs. So now we're going to keep this highlighted, go to the pattern function, go to axis, all right? Click on that center axis, all right? And then we just want to change up here. 4 is always going to be our default with 90 degrees between. We want this to be 12. With 30 between. And now you'll notice that you get a highlight in between each one. So that looks good. So I can hit OK. And there it is. And then we notice that it changes to pattern 2. This is our second pattern of the nub. And that's going to be our little outside. So quick save. We'll be good. All right. This is fun, isn't it? It's efficient. It's very efficient. You don't have to do all those separate features. Okay. So now let's take a peek back underneath. You're going to notice that we have some radiuses. Okay. So this 0.5 round, these are going to be on the very top edge of each one of those. And then we're going to have a 1 millimeter radius here on this side and on the back side. Okay. So I'll show you what those look like. Okay. So we're going to do the rounds on the very top first, the 1/2 millimeter ones first. So I'm going to go up to round, and I'm just going to do it on 1, and make sure that you grab the edge, not the surface. If you grab the surface, cancel out, go back in. Okay. So I'm going to grab this one, the top one. Let's see. This one, this one, and this front one. Again, make sure you just get the edge. And these are going to be 0.5. Okay. Oops, I don't think that one changed. Hold on, I'm going to have to go back in. 0.5. Each one of these. Set it before you go in because then they're all there. And then 0.5. Whoopsie. 0.5 here. There we go. Okay, so now all of them are 0.5. Make sure that when you go to each one, yeah, that it reads 0.5 radius at the bottom. Okay, so that looks good. I'm going to say okay. All right. So now I'm going to change this name, and I'm going to call it round underscore small, because I don't think I can put like a 1/2 inch or a 0.5. It doesn't like that. Okay. And guess what we can do with this? You can pattern this. Okay. So highlight your round, go up to pattern, and you need to click though the little thing underneath the downward triangle, and you have to click geometry pattern. Okay. Geometry pattern. For rounds, that's the requirement. I don't know why, but it is. And then axis, we're going to grab our axis on the center here. Okay. And we need to change it to 12 and 30 and just hit enter. Make sure they're there. They are. And then hit OK. Now, if yours takes a little bit of time, that's okay. So mine usually takes a little bit longer than that, but you'll see that happen. If it takes a little bit of time, that's okay. Don't click. Don't get nervous. It's thinking, because there's a lot of geometry there, and it's doing it 12 times all the way around. Okay. All right. So did that go okay for everybody? All right, cool. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add the one millimeter fillet to the places it needs to go. So let's do the round. Change your radius first to 1 so that all of them do it. Now, I'm going to zoom in here. I have to grab this one right here. Okay, edge. And then I'm going to do it on the other side right away too. I'm going to do the inside, that edge here. Okay. Then I'm going to do this very front edge. And can I get it? The back edge as well. Okay. So those 4. Everybody see that? Edge, 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 no surfaces. And they're all 1. So I'm going to hit okay. All right. It's in there. It looks good. I'm going to do a quick save. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do that one. We're going to, what are we going to call this one? We're going to call it round. Oopsie. Ooh, cancel. Double click. Round underscore. Called the last one small. We'll call this one big. Okay. And we're going to pattern this. So pattern, geometry pattern, axis, grab your axis. We need 12 of these at 30 degrees. Hit enter, make sure that they're going in. They are. And then you're going to hit okay. This one might take a little bit. This one always takes a little bit longer for me. So I'm going to let this sit here. It will be done. I just have to be patient. Don't click or go out of it, or don't think it crashed. Mine, I just have to be patient. Cross my fingers. I always get nervous. Mine crashed. Did it really, Emily? I'm so sorry. Crap. Did you save though right before it, right? Then you'll be fine. I don't know. Luckily I saved. Yeah, good. And then your saved version is going to be the latest number. So if you saved 4 times, it's going to be the 4. Okay. The last one is the most current version. 1 is going to be the earliest version. I hope mine didn't crash. I'll be sad if it crashed because I did this like twice lately. Between today and yesterday, I practiced, made sure I was all good. And both times I had to wait, but it didn't crash. My suggestion, if you are having problems as well with it crashing, the other thing that you can do, instead of doing 12 at once, do 6 or 3, and then go back in and do another pattern with the next 3. Okay. So, so you could do that as well. This is taking longer than normal. But I'm being patient. Didn't crash yet. All right. Any questions so far? We'll just try to talk in the background here. Does anybody have any questions on the pattern command at all? Okay. Has anybody's in the room, has yours already gone and they're done? Are they, did yours perform it yet, or is you're waiting as well? You haven't done it yet? Okay.
Oh, just went.
It just went? Okay. Yeah. And it's okay, right? It didn't crash?
It didn't, but some of the features did not.
Oh, really? Oh, see, mine just got done. So I was patient, and mine are in, it looks like. Yeah. If you are having problems with it, this is what I would suggest. When you go into the, I don't want to undo mine. Let me go, here's the copy. I'm gonna, no, I think I can edit this definition. Yeah. So when you go in here and you have your menu, what I would suggest is doing maybe half of them. So instead of 12, do 6, and then do 30 degrees between. Okay. And then the next time you do it, do another 6, and then do -30. So it goes on the other side for the other, you know, instances. Okay. So in the room, did everybody have okay luck with that? It did your fillets instantly? The ones on the top? Yeah, mine was quick on the tops too. The second ones, the 1-inch ones. So, okay, I think I'm gonna pause because I know this will take a little bit recording and then I will be back. Okay, so now that my knob is all set here, I would be ready to do my screenshot. So again, make sure that when you do your screenshot that you're including all of, from the upper left-hand corner, all of the design tree and the model. And in this case, we definitely can see all of the features by kind of tilting it, so you don't need to do any additional views of this one. So, so that should do it. So I think that's going to be what we cover for the models at this time for assignment number 5 for patterns. But if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out.